A big day for Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer as he shows off the new Windows 7 smartphone. Here's what he had to say.
I mean, a lot of good things out there, and yet I think when people look at the Windows Phone, they'll say, this is a different kind of phone. This phone is about me. This phone is delightful.
Even calling it delightful. Ballmer talked about the newest Windows Phone on NBC's Today Show this morning, and then he started showing off some of the features in New York. The new phone features large tiled displays and clustered functions and content. Microsoft has been trailing behind Apple, Google, and BlackBerry in the smartphone war, specifically Android with respect to Google. With more on the Windows 7 phone, we turn to Hanson, president of HRH Media Group. He's also director of the Master of Communication and Digital Media at the University of Washington. Hanson, good to have you here.
Good morning, Brad.
So the day is finally here. We cover it big here with the Redmond campus right here. I guess, many of us were already familiar with the Windows operating system, Windows 7 on the PC. What does this allow the user to do now with the mobile phone?
Well, actually, it's kind of a misnomer, even with the name. The Windows 7 on the PC has very little to do with Windows 7 on the phone. I think they just like the 7, and they like the brand analogy more than anything else. It's a very different user interface from anything we've seen, and it has almost nothing in common with what you see on the desktop. But what I've seen so far is actually pretty impressive, and what I'm hearing on the tech blogs is that actually this is a really slick, what they call UI, or user interface, something that they've totally ripped everything apart and put it back together again here.
So I know what they're really trying to promote is user-friendly. And Ballmer was using those kinds of words. Is it user-friendly like the Android and the iPhone that really has been given such good grades for user-friendliness?
Well, I think the holy grail of user-friendliness is definitely the Apple iPhone. Right. I don't think Android necessarily gets those good grades. What Android gets is openness and apps, and what I think this phone particularly falls right in the middle there. Good user-friendliness, not so many apps, but it falls very nicely because it actually has the Windows ecosystem. So if you're a Windows user with Outlook and Office and all those other things, then you've already fallen into that. And that's Apple's got iTunes, Google's got Google Apps and Gmail. Windows already has an infrastructure, an ecosystem behind it, so that's actually quite a plus.
So when people pick it up and we talk about the ease of using, you've kind of got an example.
This is a Zune. It's built on the Zune interface, so this is the.
Right. Which people may not know, but yeah. And that's very clear, very easy to read and follow.
It's actually quite nice. And this is Microsoft's problem. I actually had to get help to find a Zune because I don't own a Zune. It's not exactly part of our gadget lexicon to own a Microsoft handheld anything these days.
Yeah.
So they're actually fighting an uphill battle. I think they're actually quite humble about the whole thing, actually.
Yeah, they should be. Well, that's my next question. With BlackBerry, Android, iPhone already grabbing 80% of the market here, I mean, I think many people are wondering, can Microsoft make a significant impact this late in the game?
I think they've got a good shot. I mean, this is an all-or-nothing thing now, and this is why they're all in. In fact, this morning they announced like 10 new handsets in 30 different countries. This is a big deal for Microsoft. You have to be in the mobile space if you're going to succeed. They can. What they've got is a great user interface. What they don't have is necessarily developer support right now behind the all-important app systems.
Because that's what you hear about when you say everyone's talking and bragging about what apps they have, and I'm wondering, does that hold them back to a degree, or does this do enough? They're kind of touting in some new commercials about, when you use our phone, it will get you your head out of your phone quicker and on your way doing what you do during your day, which seems to be a different strategy here.
It is a different strategy, and maybe apps, I personally don't believe, at least for I use a Nokia for crying out loud, that apps are that important, but for a lot of people they are. I mean, the fact that you've got Windows Live functionality plus Xbox Live, I mean, that's a lot of stuff that you can do already that doesn't necessarily require apps. So there may be, Microsoft may actually have a shot here.
Now, the one other topic, Microsoft has always lagged in that cool factor that Google has had, that we know Apple has had with product after product. Are they going to get any kudos? Are they going to get any love for this product as being somewhat cool with this?
From what I've read, and this is with the geek early adopter crowd, it's looking pretty good. I think people are looking for an alternative to the all-ubiquitous iPhone now. And, there's something to be said to be going back to the underdog, which amazingly enough now is Microsoft, right?
Wow, yeah.
So I think they have a shot. You know who's going to be in trouble here? I think Google and Apple do quite well. I think RIM might have some issues if this does well. Yeah, BlackBerry could have some problems because they don't necessarily have that same infrastructure that the other three do. except for their really great email system.
So when are you hearing the phones will be available? We're hearing before the Christmas holiday season. We're hearing before Thanksgiving, maybe early November. I think it's interesting that Microsoft would actually, it's not a launch, but it's an announcement, and yet people aren't sure when they can actually get one.
No, I think that's exactly right. And I mean, we're looking at both T-Mobile and AT&T, so GSM only, not Verizon. They're looking at Verizon in early 2011. We don't have a firm date yet, but it looks like November. They're definitely aiming for Christmas, and they definitely have Apple in their sights.
Do we know anything yet about pricing? Are they going to be kind of in that same range as
from what I've read, it's
$199
with the 2-year contract on AT&T or T-Mobile, and they've got I mean, they have Dell, they have Samsung, they have HTC, they have LG. They've got a bunch of manufacturers lined up with different types of keyboards and screens, very high definition screens as well. So they are, they are not messing around anymore. They're saying we realize that we've lost credibility along the way. They've been in the smartphone game for 10 years, for crying out loud, and they're starting all over again.
Interesting. Well, and we all know what happened with Kin. It lasted some 44, 48 days.
That's right. They had to build that trust with the consumer again.
Exactly.
But I have a sneaking suspicion that this actually might work. I don't know how big it's going to be, but I think it's looking pretty good so far.
I appreciate your objectivity, and you seem mildly to the positive.
Mildly to the positive. Okay. That's how that.
Very good. Hanson Hussein, Professor of Communication and Digital Media. Thanks again for your technical analysis of the product. And you can catch Hanson on his TV show, Media Space. He hosts on the University of Washington TV, Channel 27. We'll look for you on that.
Thank you, Brad.
Thanks, Hanson.